I watched your video when you submitted it the other day, and then I recently saw it again this morning, and I just find myself replaying it because I just love the way you describe your art. And I wanted to just first off the bat ask you, like, you kind of explained your relationship with dancing in your video. Is there anything more you can tell me about your relationship with dancing?
Oh, absolutely. What I find dancing to be, I find it to be a language. Like I said, it's something that everybody can speak. No matter what culture, no matter what continent you're on, there's always some form of dancing. And if you can sort of combine certain flavors of dancing together, you come up with something new. And it's sort of like capturing lightning in a bottle, in the sense that no two dances are ever the same if you really
Right.
break it down. And that's something that I thoroughly enjoy about dancing in general, especially
Can
swing
you
dancing.
tell us about like your dance inspiring kindness? Like, how do you feel your dance or your style of dance inspires kindness?
Well, I think for me, being able to you kind of transcend past certain things that may divide people, like left versus right, people who are, the rich versus the poor, like anybody and everybody is welcome on the dance floor. And you're able to just share this beautiful moment with somebody that you normally would never have talked to or connected with outside of that environment. And so that's why, and that goes for the arts too. For I'm also a theater practitioner and aspiring musician. And so like those types of things translate as well. And if you create a space where people feel safe enough to share their ideas,
Hmm.
even if they're different from others, that we can still have civil discourse and we can have conversation with each other. And that, I think, is the ultimate kindness that you can share with anybody, is just sharing a moment with them, being human, knowing that we all eat, we all sleep, we all dream, we all have to go and use the bathroom at some point, and
Hmm.
so we're all in this together. And we're in this together with dancing especially. So I think that's just kind of like the cream of the crop of that idea and that philosophy.
That's very beautifully put. So almost like basically creating a safe space for people of all kinds to express themselves in any way they choose to.
Oh, absolutely. And you have to understand where the dance itself comes from. We have to kind of represent and present that history, because Lindy Hop is the African American based street dance that sprung up in the even as early as like the teens, but in the 20s when Charleston came about.
Hmm.
uh, they came up with this thing called the breakaway. So you're doing a Charleston together, and then they took that from Charleston, sprung Lindy Hop, and from Lindy Hop kind of sprung a whole bunch of other dances. And it's kind of like this, like the umbrella term swing dancing, but then you have all like these little veins or all these little pockets of like different styles and different flavors of dancing and stuff. And a lot of them just came out of necessity, and a lot of the dance also just came from kind of mocking the uptight, like there's this story that goes around about Lindy Hop and how people who, since African Americans weren't allowed to learn how to foxtrot, or they weren't allowed to ballroom dance at that time, or
Hmm.
it was much harder, they said, okay, well, we're going to do everything the opposite. So if you notice, like, ballroom is very up here and everything else along this way, but then they're like, okay, so what happens if we bring it down and we lower our hand? And then that's how, it's kind of like how Lindy Hop was made. So it's just like,
Oh,
let's sort of rebel a little bit, or sort of make fun of certain situations, or make situations, and just make our own thing. And that's an ideology that I kind of cater myself to, more often, just being like, let's make something weird and different, and kind of that was sort of expressed in the video, because like at first I thought, oh hey, well let's just do a performance, with like static camera and everything like that. But then I thought, you know what, I want to communicate what I'm feeling in my head
Mm,
in, in an interesting and different media. And that's something too that I think because of this whole pandemic, we're going to see sort of like a second renaissance, if you will.
I
Uh,
feel that.
oh yeah, and I'm trying to position myself in a way that I can propel myself forward, through dance and song and acting and everything. So
Right.
and also doing wonderful interviews like this.
What
So
does the
thank you for
golden rule
hearing me
mean to
ramble.
you?
Well, I was always raised to say that the golden rule was something that some something to the effect of treat others the way that you want to be treated. But I take it a step further and I say, hey, let's treat them with a little bit more respect. That it's the same idea of treating the CEO of a company the same as you would the janitor, and treating the janitor the same as you would the CEO of the company.
Mm,
Everybody is important. Everybody has their place in this world. And I
right.
honestly think that, if more people understood that and more people realized that, we would all be just a little bit kinder, and we would all be, the world would be a much brighter and happier place. I think, kind of, it's sort of like the people like Mr. Rogers, or like
Yes.
Bob Ross or Steve Irwin, like Robin Williams, like all these people I personally look up to as as entertainers, as educators, as just in the true word of influencer. Like I know everybody talks about like, oh, I'm an influencer on social media. I'm just like,
Ah, yeah.
yeah, but like these, like these people led full on revolutions of kindness. And I think that's something else that we can stand to have in this day and age, is just being able to have that kindness that we can share with other people, and to redefine the golden rule. You know,
Mm.
um,
Amazingly put.
well, thank
I
you.
really, it really stuck to me when you said everybody has a place in this world, and the analogy used of the janitor and the CEO. What impact would you hope like your dance could have on students today and how they treat each other at schools?
Well, I'll break that up into two ways. First, I would hope that my art would inspire others to just create, and to create and collaborate. Like, it's the big C word, is collaboration, because being able to do that, it teaches you patience, to work with others. Pursuing a creative endeavor, no matter what the size or no matter what the medium, it is important to create, because we've been doing, you can look back on human history for thousands of years, and we can look back because there were artists and there were, people there who were creating things. It's kind of like the running joke is, being an actor is the longest dying, profession out there, because it's always dying. It's like there's always like,
Yeah.
oh, that's going out. It's just like, no, it's not. It's there. As long as we still consume media, as long as we still, watch television in any capacity, there's somebody who has to present. There's,
Mm.
something along those lines. So I'm hoping that for me, with my art, and for helping to inspire other students, I hope that I can inspire, you know understanding, collaboration, and you know different views and different ways to create certain feelings and certain emotions. It's sort of like, the running joke that we have in swing dancing is that, um, oh, I'm gonna blank on it, hold on.
Take your time, man. I know we
Don't
know how it be.
Oh, don't you know, it's just one of those things. But the sincerest form of flattery is copying somebody else, or, well, imitation. That's what it is. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And I've dancing, especially because like you'll see a move from like a movie, or from, like I just watched La La Land last night, and I'm like, yeah, I think I
Hmm.
could do like a tap dance solo that's like a one shot in the middle of the street,
Hmm.
and just make, pay homage to, to those things. Because, you know in swing, we have, it's kind of like the call and response, like
Right.
you'll hear like a da 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 da, and then it's just like, so I think that is the same thing, that we're always doing a call and response to people, uh, in whatever media we pursue, whether that be with spoken word, or if it be with singing or dancing or acting or painting, or underwater basket weaving. Like
Right.
any creative endeavor is a creative endeavor,
Right.
and the best thing that you can do is just to give it all you got and just go at it.
For
So
sure. No pun intended, but what steps can he or she take to develop these skills?
uh well, good on you. I was wondering if you were going to be like, how can they swing that, swing that direction, or swing that deal. Hey, how you doing?
Could have been a
That's
little
the
more
one that.
creative.
Oh, no, no, it's just, you hear all the teachers, like, you go to all those classes, which is, one thing that you can do, is one avenue is taking classes. But you do hear a lot of the jokes, or some of the same jokes, kind of like tweet for certain situations. And I'm like, we love puns, don't we? So that's always a fun time. But
So,
I would say that for students who are aspiring to dance, just do it. Like, honestly, if you notice in the video, I'm in the filming location of where that took place yesterday, and it's a slab of concrete out here with, like, and that's all you need. All you need is
mm,
a flat surface, and just, like, just messing around with the beat. Because the best thing about swing dancing is that there's no such thing as mistakes, only variations. And so, you know, you didn't mess up the
mm,
move, you just made it your own. And so that's something that's kind of helped me grow and progress, and to kind of build that confidence, and
mm,
to understand that. So there's also a wonderful YouTube resource called Alphabet Jazz Steps. I think it's the second video, it's the longer one. I think they have three different videos. And that's from a YouTube resource called the Lindy Ladder, Lindy Ladder, Ladder.
mm.
And that's on YouTube, and they have everything from very basic beginner, like, this is a rock step, this is a triple step, and like breaking it down all the way, like, from that all the way up to like aerials and like routines and everything. So, like, everything in between, like social dancing. And it really is, uh, the biggest thing that you have to understand about pursuing anything is that it's not really this curve.
Right.
It's
It's not
not,
linear.
yeah, it's not, it's like you have like plateaus, like you keep doing this and you're like, okay, I'm getting really good. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to keep going and I'm really good. And
Right.
and so, and that's something that I have found with anything that I'm pursuing. I recently took up guitar because my adopted younger brother, picked it up, and I
Mm,
started noodling around on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to play this. And the difference between, like, I had the guitar and I was just trying YouTube tutorials for a little bit. They were good. They helped. But then the moment that I had one-on-one uh, coaching from somebody,
lessons.
yeah, once I had lessons, it's kind of like rocket fuel. You're just like, okay, it's like
Yeah,
you're ready to go.
100%.
Oh yeah. So any, if there's any artists or any teachers that you admire their work, or if you have a second set of eyes, or it's like that whole, going back to that whole collaboration thing. Uh, we all drive cars. Everybody who drives a car knows that there's blind spots. No matter how many mirrors you have,
Right.
there's always blind spots. And so it's nice to have second set of eyes to be able to, like, cover your blind spots and be
Right.
like, this is how.
What do you have to say about the fear of
That's just what I'm
failure?
saying, though. So, ooh, that is a doozy of a question,
It's
because the before I ever do any performance, whether it be for theater or for a dance competition or anything along those lines, I always have fear in me, or I always have kind of like a anxiety. And I wish I could say that, like, as you get older, it goes away. It doesn't. The
mm,
best way that you can describe it is that you kind of learn how to corral it. You have to kind of like think of it as, like, it's like a wild stallion that you have to, like, corral, But then, it's, once you kind of like learn how to work with that fear, uh, then you can just go on and perform. And uh, there was somebody, I forget which actress it was, but she had a quote that said, the minute that you're not nervous before stepping on stage is the moment that you should quit acting. And it's kind
Mm,
of the same thing. We everybody has fear, but we have to learn to push on and pursue the things that drive us. And so I think that for me personally, uh, I will always have fear in my life, but I learn to live with it and learn to overcome it at times. But it always will be a part of me because it's one of the many emotions that we all kind of share as human beings. We've
right,
all had fear, and we have all been there. But just because you're there doesn't mean that you have to stay there. You know, life is
right.
life. Life is a spiral. You have the decision of whether you spiral upwards or if you spiral downwards.
It starts with music, a beat that translates from your head to your heart to your feet. And hearing the music that not only my parents and my grandparents listened to, but the same music that my grandparents' parents listened to. And after all those years, spanning generations, I know I'm keeping part of their memory alive when I'm dancing. Plus, you can't put an expiration date on good music. And you can't help but smile when you're swing dancing, because for that small bit of time, you get to share some ideas, express yourself, and connect with people from all over the world. And no matter where you come from, you're always welcomed on the floor once more to share that small bit of magic that we call swing dancing.